I remember the 7-Eleven used to have arcades. Not sure if anybody remembers this, but 7-Eleven used to have like, well, at least the one by me, it had this little offset in the 7-Eleven, and it was like a little space corridor area, and it had two machines. It had I remember the SNK machine first, and I clearly remember Art of Fighting 1. It was Art of Fighting 1. I remember the Sengoku was also, that's like a walk around beat 'em up kind of game. I remember Sengoku was in that machine. Art of Fighting 1. Maybe Fatal Fury. Fatal Fury 1 was in there as well. And that's what I really remember. Like, if I think my hardest, that's the first thing, besides like Karate Champ or whatever. But that's the first thing I can remember as far as playing a fighting game in an arcade. And then I remember the 7-Eleven got Street Fighter. They had 2 and then Championship Edition. And yeah, after that, wherever we went, wherever I could go, whether it be a mall or arcade or a bowling alley or a diner, like whatever there was an arcade game, especially fighting game, I wanted to play it. And I don't really remember how it was for me learning to play. I can kind of base the question of learning new games now, because I mean, like, I was young when I learned to play. I was like 3 and 4 trying to play, so it's not like I had, you know, the mind capacity to actually, I guess, learn new things. It was more me just kind of playing the game, and honestly, I guess just pressing buttons. You know, at 3 and 4, you don't really have much motor skills or, you know, the capability to learn something like that at that young age. So yeah, the first game I can remember actually learning how to play, like, you know, in depth more, was probably Mortal Kombat 1. I was really big in the mall where I used to go hang out and play with my dad, and you know, I was old enough to kind of recollect it and had the motor skills to learn it and stuff like that, and, you know, the mind capacity to intake everything that was going on the screen. But I don't remember it being very hard, but also those games back then were kind of simple, especially that, you know, it wasn't really, everyone had 2 moves, and it was, you know, a block button and a couple other buttons. So it wasn't too hard as far as learning games now. Like, now is definitely a different story because of how much goes into the game and all the different games that are out. So it's definitely a lot difficult now, being older, and having the experience still makes it harder, I think. I definitely got hate on. I remember my dad taking me out of arcades because dudes wanted to put me in their pocket and throw me in garbage pails. Some dudes were cool with it, like, oh, you know, Shorty knows how to play, and then there were other dudes who didn't want to lose to, you know, an 8-year-old boy. But for the most part, it was cool. I met a lot of people. I got respect from a lot of older people knowing how to play, and dudes would want to take me to different arcades. They wanted to take me to Westbury Nathan's. They wanted to take me to Spaceplex. They wanted to take me to the infamous Chinatown Fair place, but I was too young to go there. My dad wouldn't let me go. But yeah, guys used to want to, the cool dudes would want to take me around and travel with me around the island, and they would ask my dad, yo, we're going to go here. When are you taking to play? I mean, my dad had me in, I mean, obviously, not saying he was a bad dad, but he had me in, like, billiard places and, like, kind of, not strip clubs, but the strip club had a billiard place. It was called Cafe Royale, and they had a Mortal Kombat 3 machine. I clearly remember going there with all the dudes in the billiard area, not the stripper area, playing dudes in there. And, you know, obviously there the atmosphere is a little rough, so I only went there once just to kind of, I guess, show face that the dudes used to talk about me, so they brought me there and we played, and then that was the last time I went there. But it was a mixed bag, from some hate and some love, but definitely I had more love than hate from everyone. Yeah, I have, because a lot of people, excuse me, sorry, a lot of people that I meet, you know, they're interested in, you know, what I do and what I've done when it comes to gaming, and, like, a lot of people question, like, you know, what, like, I'm not sure what you do. Like, I see pictures on your Facebook or, like, here, but what is it exactly that you do? And, like, I do explain to them, especially, like, with people at my job who are, like, managers and stuff like that, who have to kind of, you know, talk to about what I do, because that's how I can't travel without my job letting me travel. But it's usually, I think a lot of people are confused about the community at first and what we do. You know, a lot of people have a bad, I guess, a real bad stereotype of the way we are or what we look like or what we do. Like, we just sit in grandma's basement and play video games all day, but that's far from the truth. So my favorite thing to do is to break the stereotype and make sure that, you know, they're not stuck on that, fixated on that vision of just, you know, dudes sitting around in a room playing games all day and not doing anything else with it, just sitting there playing, and letting them know that we do travel and we do have friends across the country, in other countries, all over, you know, everywhere. So that's that's my first thing, my first goal when I do explain to them what it is that we do. And usually you get some people who are into it, that, oh, really? It's that in depth. And then some people who I guess kind of don't necessarily buy it. I've had a few of those, like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. Anyway, so, but it's a hard task to explain to them because they don't have the same passion that I think most of us do, or especially myself. So to try to explain to them, someone who doesn't understand your passion, it's a little harder to have them buy into it and understand it. What is it? Woof. Wow. How much time you got? I'm sorry, man. What makes a fighting game? Well, obviously that's based on a big interpretation for the first part when you have people considering, games like Smash. Some people consider that to be more of a party game than a fighting game. And in general, I mean, it's usually, it comes down to two different people, two different skill sets being thrown in one area together and seeing who comes out on top. And I say two different people because we both think differently. We both have a different outlook on how we're going to go about certain things. And skill sets being what we do in the game, whether we pick a certain character or the tactics inside the game or the mechanics and stuff like that. So it's really, I wish I could just say a fighting game is just me versus you, our minds clashing, but there's a little more in it because we can do anything. We can play cards and it's not necessarily a fighting game. So that's why I tried to be specific with, those skill sets that we pick, being the character, being our tactics, and being, our experiences or whatever we learn from other fighting games. But it's hard to I guess, generalize it based on opinion. Like I said, Smash, I see Smash and I don't know what's going on. To me, I'm like, okay, it looks a little nutty. I don't know if it's a fighting game, but then you got dudes who swear up and down and die by it, and I respect it 100%. I have nothing wrong with that at all. I'm all for it, man. But it's just, to me, my perspective is it's just a little different, and so I can understand how, it could vary between what would a core fighting game be. I mean, you could say, yeah, it's all right, 2 rounds, 3 rounds, and then the best man wins. But I think that's a little too generalized of a statement. The fighting game community is definitely my second family. I've met best friends. I've met girlfriends. I've met people I look up to, just like I would a dad or a brother or, a sister or a mom or anything like that. It can definitely be whatever you make it to be. Like to me, I took huge passion in it and I have a huge love for it. So to me, I could say that it is my second family. It is my best friend. It is my dad. It is my mom. It is my family. But, some people could just look at it as it just being a hobby or just something to do. But I feel like I invested so much time in it, and I can't believe where I got in my life just because I like fighting games and I can play them decently, I guess. But yeah, to me, that is definitely what we are. Definitely my family. The fighting game scene in the 90s, we're going to lead up to Street Fighter 4. The fighting game scene in the 90s was pretty big. There were arcades everywhere. Like I said, bowling alley, diner, rest stops, 7-Elevens. There were arcades or machines randomly placed, all over the country. But then, because it was definitely a newer market, and people found interest in the competitive aspect of it, being new and stuff like that. And then you had S&K knocking games out. You had Capcom knocking games out left and right. I'm sure there's some other things I'm forgetting, just basing off those two. But there was, a bunch of stuff. So then you had Midway, who came along in the 90s with MK. And then MK took America, kind of sort of by storm. And I think even though it was publicized not so well, to the public, it had kind of a bad rap. But, they say there's no such thing as bad publicity kind of sort of thing. And I think that definitely helped out the scene in general. And then, we got, when Street Fighter started getting bigger after Champion, when Super Turbo came out, and then Alpha came out, then we started getting the word of the magic land on the other side of the sea, which was Japan. And, obviously one of the very famous things is when Daigo came here to play Alex in Alpha 3. And, that was, I remember hearing about it as a kid playing in the Sports Plus over here. Sports Plus had Street Fighter Alpha 3. And I remember them talking about some Japanese, but I didn't know. I was like, whatever, how old I was, but I didn't really know. But places like Sports Plus where everybody wanted to play, and then you had the 3D games came out, Tekken and Virtua Fighter. So there were all these different kinds of fighting games. So they brought all different kinds of people together to play. So from the 90s into maybe the early 2000s, like CVS 2 came out and Marvel 2 came out, but then after that, it kind of dried up quick. You had, I think, the last game I remember, was it SBC Chaos? That was probably like one of the last games to come out before. I could be 100% wrong, but like one of the besides like the Soul Calibur series and stuff like that. But another game, Soul Calibur. See, stuff's just gonna pop in my head. Just so many different things. But besides, all these different kind of games, bringing all these different people in, and then you had Japan also who was playing. Who I remember, like I said, I heard about during Alpha 3. 2004-ish, 2005-ish, it started to get a little dry. We were playing the same games. Everyone was either playing CVS 2, Third Strike, Marvel 2, but those games have already been out since 99. So how much you're going to keep playing the same game for. And the other games died out pretty quick. MK kind of died out. Virtua Fighter was never really too popular in America, even though it did okay. There's still some diehard dudes, which I respect. I love that game. Soul Calibur, same thing. They had, 4 visions, whatever, 5 now, but never really took off too seriously in the competitive scene in America, especially around that time. So, and then 2006 came and 2007 came, and once again, I remember being in Chinatown Fair, being like, what am I playing now? Like, I've been playing Third Strike forever. I remember just like kind of messing around in Marvel 2. I suck in Marvel 2, but just because there was really nothing to play. And I was like, I don't even know what the heck to do. We were just playing the same game over and over again, the same people winning, the same situations keep happening. So then it kind of got dry. And then, of course, we have Street Fighter 4. I mean, it was, Third Strike came out in 99. It came out 2008, right? Street Fighter 4? 98. So 9 years. Had a 9-year gap. No one's seen a new Street Fighter. So it was timed so perfectly between, the players like myself, not saying everybody, but some players getting a little restless in the scene and stuff like that. And them needing something new and something fresh. So then when Street Fighter 4 came out, it blew up, dude. Like, I remember being in Chinatown Fair, and we had a quarter line, bro, with a piece of paper, and the paper had like, I don't know, 60 names on the paper, and you were only allowed to win 6 games, and you had to get up to keep everything moving. It looked like the old days in the arcade in Chinatown. Like, Chinatown was packed, bro. And this is 2008, 2009. It looked like it was 2001, and Justin was on the Marvel 2 cab running it. You know what I'm saying? It was packed, dude. But now we're in 2008, and it really helped revitalize the scene. Everyone got something new, got something fresh, and you had dudes who played Marvel and dudes who played the other games because they didn't really get anything new or fresh either. So they were like, all right, well, I guess let's mess around with Street Fighter 4 and see what's going on with here. So you had those people coming together because they didn't really have anything to play. You had the Street Fighter dudes who wanted to look at this new Street Fighter. Then you had all these new cats coming in because they were finally exposed to something that was new and that was fresh and that they can play. A lot of dudes would be like, oh, I don't want to play Third Strike. It's a lot of people in their eyes, it's an old game. They don't want to play ST. Maybe something like Guilty Gear might be a little bit more flashy, so they can maybe have more interest in that. But when you first look at those games, you're like, oh, I'd rather not, really mess around with something like this. But so Street Fighter 4 had the ability to pull all of those different people in. The new guys, the old dudes getting restless, and the guys from other games who didn't really have anything else to play. So we all came together, and everybody just met around those 4 machines. And it was quite a time, man. It was quite a time. As much as, I talk crap about the game definitely helped us all out 100%. To be that level of player, that high competitive player, I mean, you have to dedicate a lot of time. I mean, for instance, when K-Brad was here, when he was staying, actually this is his bed right here, K-Brad's bed. Every day I got home from work, every single day, and he was here for a month. Almost every day he was sitting in that computer chair watching a match or watching a stream. But that's the level you have to be at. You have to watch the matches. You have to be able to, and take in all that information and take things from the match and watch a character like, I hate fighting this character, and watching the matches over and over again and watching, different players play and taking stuff from them and traveling. It's a lot, man. It is definitely a lot of work, and it's just, I don't know if I have the time to put into that, to come home every day and just be like, all right, this is what I'm going to do, and then have to travel when I have, 1 day off, sometimes only 1 day off, sometimes no days off a week, and then I use that 1 day to travel, and then I don't have anything for myself or like anybody else. So it does require a lot to be there. I think I have the ability. Like I said, it's just a matter of pushing and driving towards it. And some people have the ability. Some people, have the sponsors to help them get around. Some people, are maybe independently wealthy to help them get around and be able to travel and be able to play. The play experience also goes a lot into that too. If I just play here with just my friends, then I can go, I don't know, maybe if I just go to, who knows, Virginia, and I can get waxed in Virginia because I haven't, I need to travel more. All the different player experiences, everybody plays different. So you need to get that experience. So you need to be out there, you need to travel, you need to go to all the majors you possibly can. And, like I said, it's really, really hard to do. It's, the way my life has become now. But it does take a lot, and I give a lot of respect to all those dudes who can do it, man, that's for sure. John and I run East Coast Roadon, yes we do. And it started, obviously John running small, very, very local events, and I was always like, dude, do a major, you can do it, we'll run a major, I'll help you. Typical John, great. Anyway, so Mike says something about him wanting to run a major and stuff like that. And then I'm like, John, Mike said he's running the major. And John's like, no, F that, no, he's not, we're gonna do it right now. So that was it. After the fire got lit under John, which he benefits off of very, very much. After the fire came under John, we really buckled down and decided to make it happen. I think we threw it together in months. We got a word out, no social media, different arcades, guys in Chinatown, tell the guys in Jersey at the break, and then Philly University Pinball. Then you had dudes from University Pinball so it was really just kind of like back in the day when dudes didn't have the internet to do music. Everyone just handed out tapes and they nailed tapes around. It was kind of like, I always got the same feel of it. It was just people word of mouth saying, there's going to be an event, and then obviously me knowing a lot of the top players at the time, they helped out tremendously, like, Justin and Ricky and Arturo and all those dudes in Sanford and, actually Empire Arcadia, all those dudes who had a very good, strong hold in the community. They helped out spreading the word and stuff like that. So that was really cool. But it started because of Mike and the fire lit under John. And then obviously things don't always go the way you plan it, especially the first time. But you learn from your mistakes, and we just kept going, and we made maybe a few more, but it's all a learning experience. And the thing that I'm very thankful for is the community and the players in general being understanding of the fact that this is a first run, or I'm sorry, it was our first try, and this was their second try, and it's a lot better. It's already doubled in attendance, and this is their third try, and there's already 200, 300 more people here than last year. It took us a few shots to get it right, but now I think it goes very well. The last few have run, to me, I think they've run flawlessly. And even TFC, which we ran after our last ECT, was another one, and we got complaints that it actually ran too smooth, that dudes were just kind of like, everything is good, everything is on time, but now what do I do? Because everything was so on point, so they were looking for, other things and stuff like that. But yeah, I definitely think we had our struggles, but you have to struggle to get to the top. So it is, it sucks, man. It definitely sucks, but I'm all about bettering life and bettering yourself. And I know, even though it was my idea that he's doing what he's doing, once again, he stole it from me. He's, no, I'm happy for him, dude. Like, I hear him get excited when he talks about interviews and he talks about emails and stuff, and it's cool to see. It's cool to see, like, one of your friends, do something with himself. I'm like, these scrubs in their room, this kid's doing something with himself, and that's, the most important. He's, one of my best friends, so to see him go, it's gonna suck to see him go, especially the fact that he's a big part in the everything that is ECT. John and I have this saying where I would be the artist and John would be the architect when it comes to running the events. I have the ability to think about it and plan it out and kind of put it on the paper, but John can actually construct it, and he's a lot more patient than me. He has the ability, he's actually a lot smarter than I am too. He has the ability to make these he's so calculated. He has your spreadsheet. He has your this. He has your that. I'm not that calculated and or anything else like that. So it's having him around is a huge importance, man. So we'll see how it goes without him. I mean, it's not like he's not going to be there to help. I'm sure he'll help out. I'm sure whether he's in California or he's not, wherever he is, I'm sure he's still going to help, which is going to be cool. But it is going to suck, and I'm sure this year it's definitely going to be some sad moments. I'm sure some of us will cry. I'm sure I'm going to make him cry, but it's going to be okay because I'll cry with him. We'll cry together. It'll be fine. But no, it's gonna be rough. I just hope that I hope more so that I just want the community and everybody else to know the importance of John and his input in ECT. That's my goal this year, to make sure that everyone knows that it's not like it shouldn't not matter that he's leaving. Like, people should honestly sit and think about all the stuff that he has done and all the stuff that we together have put into it, or he helped me or I helped him. And I just want people to realize that it's not, it's a lot bigger deal than what someone might seem it to be. I love anime games. I really do. I remember Melty Blood, us playing Melty Blood in Chinatown Fair. When you walk outside Chinatown Fair, there's 6 steps to the right. And I remember dudes sitting on those steps with a laptop playing like the original version of Melty Blood. And I was like, what the hell is this? And they're like, oh yeah, Melty Blood. And I remember playing, wow, it was pretty cool. Then I remember it came out on, I think it was PlayStation 2, in an import. I forgot what version. Was it React? I don't remember. It was an old version, though. It was a very old version of Melty Blood. And I remember playing that. And I love anime games, dude. I played Guilty Gear since Guilty Gear 1, because I listened to like underground metal, death metal, metal, hardcore, whatever the hell you want to call it. So growing up listening to that, I remember there being a fighting game, hearing about some fighting game that had like a sick soundtrack. And me and Brandon Meyer were running around the mall trying to find the original Guilty Gear, because I remember hearing about this like kind of heavy metal-ish based soundtrack that was Guilty Gear. And Guilty Gear, all the names and everything is all off of rock music. You have Venom and Slayer and Testament and who else? I'm sure there's a million other things. They say like their stories have it, their moves are song names from like metal and stuff like that. So, and then, you had Melty Blood. Then you had obviously Guilty Gear, then Blaz Blue, and I'm sure I'm forgetting a million ones that you can download on the computer and stuff like that. But I love the scene. I love the scene a lot, and the games are fun, dude. I wish more people would actually play the games. It's just I'm not really sure why people don't play the games. I mean, to me they all look appealing. But that's obviously that's based on a preference thing. But like I said, I love the games, man, and I cannot wait for XR to come out, and I'm sure I'm going to play that a whole awful lot. But I love the scene, dude, especially that scene. That's a cool group of dudes, man. Stick Bug. Chinatown Fair was, I say it all the time, dude. Like, if Chinatown Fair was a cologne, I would wear it. I would spray myself in Chinatown Fair. It was just, growing up on Long Island, I always heard about that infamous, Chinatown Fair place. Always asked my dad if I can go there, but he didn't want to take me because he knew it was a city, he knew it was kind of rough. So we never went. When I was 14, I went with Don D'Amato. Don D'Amato and I think I was 14, maybe I was 15, something like that. I went to the city, and I went to Broadway City, which is now, what is Broadway City now? Dave & Buster's. Is it? Something like that, yeah. Broadway City to play DDR, actually. And then they had King of Fighters, it was 2001, because they had King of Fighters 2000 in the Broadway City. And then he was like, after we played in Broadway City, he's like, all right, we're going to go to Chinatown Fair. And I was like, oh my God, I've been hearing about this place forever. And going there to play DDR and walking in, and I was like, oh my God, this is the best place I've ever been in. Because I saw Tekken, and I saw Marvel, and I saw Street Fighter, and I saw ST, and I saw Third Strike. They actually had Guilty Gear XX, and on the button layout, it was the PlayStation buttons. Like, it said circle, and then it had an X, and then it had a square and a triangle. It was on the cabinet. They had that. They had, dude, it was great, man. And I was like, I remember I didn't play DDR. I used to just play KOF there, because before I played, after Street Fighter and like Mortal Kombat, stuff like that, I played a lot of SNK. I played like KOF 97, I played 98 a lot, Didn't really like 2000, 2001. I played 2002 a whole lot. I have a cabinet right here which has 2002 in it, but the screen doesn't work. So I remember I went there. We all went to play DDR, and I was just playing KOF because I've never seen it before because it was nowhere on Long Island. I just kind of watched videos and stuff like that of whatever I could see. But I mean, like I watched matches go down. I mean, it took me years to anyone to even know who I was there. There were a couple of dudes who watched me play KOF. Quasi, remember Quasi? Quasi used to watch me play KOF, and I would lose, but I'd do okay and stuff like that. But then I started getting good in KOF, and then after 2001, I started playing Third Strike there, and I just wanted to play Third Strike. I remember clear as day, Justin beating me and having no idea who I was. Now he's like, one of my very good friends inside the community. And I remember watching Marvel 2 and watching Yipes play Marvel 2 when he was there. And I remember Justin playing with this bag of chips. He had a plastic bag with Chinese food in the bottom and a bag of chips on top. And I remember him playing and eating. I remember clear as day him playing, watching him play, winning, eating the bag of chips, and keep playing again, and eating the bag of chips and playing. And I remember Ricky coming there, dude. It was just, I mean, I can sit here and talk about CF for like ever. But once I got a little bit better and I got known there in like Third Strike, I met a lot of dudes from playing Third Strike. I met Eric Arroyo, Marvel 2. He used to like watching me play Urian in Third Strike. And, after getting good, that's when a lot of people would, I guess, notice you and say, what's up? And then you wound up going there by yourself or with one of your friends and then going to China to go into food and then going home, where it slowly became to going there, meeting someone else there, and then instead them saying, hey, dude, we're going to go eat. You want to come eat? And then you meet other people that they brought out to dinner and then different places to eat. I mean, Chinatown Fair was more of an arcade. Like, that was a culture in 4 blocks. Like, we were like a culture that spanned in 4 blocks of Chinatown. Because we had, there was a movie theater up the road. There were 2 or 3 different arcades in the area. There was Kong Man Center, which was like some shady arcade up the block from Chinatown Fair. Mad shady. Kong Man Center was over there, and then we would eat, and then we would go have some dessert, and then it was also a culture thing for me because I was an American boy who eats hamburgers and hot dogs, and now they're like, this is bubble tea, and this is this, and this is duck, and this. I was like, whoa. So I did learn a lot about people. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about my friends because being in the city, you're surrounded by the melting pot of people and culture. So there was black friends, there were Spanish friends, there was white friends, there was Jewish friends, there were Asian friends. It really, diversified my friend group, and I guess all, kind of made me the person that I am today. Growing up for years, dude, I went every week. I went every single week. My car is 6 years old and it has 135,000 miles on it because I drove to CF all the time. Whenever I had a free chance, I would drive. I didn't want to take the train because taking the train, it takes forever. Then you leave CF at 3 in the morning, you get on a train at 3:40, you don't get home till 4 or 5, so I didn't want to do that. So I just drove whenever I could. But I had some of the, the best times. I met the best people there. I played my best matches in there. It was also like once I walked in to like CF, everything else didn't really matter. Like whether it be fighting with the girl, whether it be, dealing with issues at home or, my mom being sick. I remember being in CF and just playing like being okay, no matter how many times, and I still say it whenever I go on Mott Street, no matter how many times I would turn that one last corner before I CF, I would get like anxiety. Like I just wanted to get there because I travel so far and I'm thinking about it the whole time while I'm driving or sitting on the train. And that last turn right before the church, I remember being like, I just want to get there. And I used to kind of peek over the crowd to see who was standing outside and stuff like that. And just going somewhere kind of like Cheers where everybody knows your name, dude, you can't beat that, man. You really can't beat it. But, my mom being sick as well. I remember playing Guilty Gear there, like crying. It was when my mom was like really, really sick. And I remember straight up like tearing. And I was playing Guilty Gear with like a couple of people. And I was like, they would like watch me there, and like a couple of them came up to me and they saw me, and I was just like, I was legit like tearing, and I was just playing Guilty Gear, like crying. But it was a good release of everything, and I wasn't afraid to be like, yo, Joe's at the Guilty Gear machine crying. Everyone knew my situation, so they were just like, yo, man, like, Joe's at Guilty Gear crying. So everyone like came around. It was, like I said, it was everything. It was not, by no means was that place just an arcade to me. I mean, obviously opinions may vary, but that was way more than an arcade.